Take the club back. We're just gonna do that a couple of times, okay? Got my setup, got my backswing, and I'm gonna feel like I just do that through the swing. Okay? Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name's Ryan Mouque, and today I'm gonna share with you an entire online lesson that I gave recently so that you have a complete understanding of what goes on when you sign up for an online lesson. Check it out. Alrighty, mate. Let's have a chat about your chipping motion. So, in the past, we've got you to feel a little bit more pressure on that front leg, okay? And we wanted the swing a little bit more rounded, given the fact that you kind of just tend to kind of get the hands and arms going away from the target, okay? Now, while you've succeeded in that, okay, we've gone a little bit too far, which is common, which is what happens with golf, and this is the beauty of what we're doing, right? We can constantly check in and not let it get too far out of whack, okay? So I just want to kind of see a few things with your setup position here. So I'm just going to draw a few lines for you here. So, for me, I'm seeing this lead shoulder being a little bit too far in front, okay? In my opinion, your sternum is just a little bit too far in front of the golf ball. You've got a lot of pressure on that front leg, and there's a lot of shaft lean with this club. Okay, I've missed the shaft there a little bit, but you can kind of see what's happening with the shaft there. Okay, there's a lot of shaft lean, a lot of lean forward. So everything that you're doing is causing what I would say a fast ball speed. Okay, so what you said to me was the ball's going too far, or it's coming up too short, or you're mishitting them. Okay, now the mishits are going to come from that leading edge getting stuck into the ground due to the fact that your body's so far forward and the leading edge is, or the shaft lean that you have there is basically taking away relative bounce on your club. So you're basically just going to stick the leading edge in at times, okay? Now, the other thing that's going to not help your cause is the plane you swing your club back on. So again, as I spoke to you about just before, was we wanted you to feel a little bit more rounded, okay? But it's gone a little bit too far. So you can see how the club's now moving too far under that plane line. So again, if I change that colored line there, see if I can grab it. Keep grabbing the clip. There you go. So there's the club there. And there's the club about there. So you can see it's very much under that plane line. Okay, a bit too far behind you. So that when you start to come down, that club's just swinging a little bit too far inside for my liking, which moves the low point a little bit too far behind the golf ball. Okay, so if you were to kind of put a hula hoop on the ground at an angle that we set up, we set the club up at, and you tilt the hula hoop to the right, you would notice that the low point now becomes behind the ball, inside and behind, whereas if you tilt it to the left and out to in swing, your low point would actually be more further ahead. Okay, so moving forward, I want you to try and feel like you can get that club to track up that plane line. And I'm going to go outside and do a drill for you, okay, to show you, obviously, along with this analysis of how to actually set up a training station to allow you to do that. Okay, so mate, really simple stuff. All we're going to do is we're going to get this set up a little bit more neutral. We may start 50-50. We may move a little bit into, let's say, 55 to 60% of your pressure on the front foot, as opposed to right now it looks to be, and let me remove all of this stuff for you. Right now it definitely looks like there's almost 80+% on that lead side, which is just causing you some hassles with contact. Okay, so two things: setup and swing plane on the backswing. Okay, now the other thing you mentioned to me was how far the ball is going. Okay, so if we just run through a few of these chip shots, right? The first shot has gone, let's say, let me zoom in on this. So let's say there's one ball, okay. So what's that? We could probably say it's maybe 10 to 12 foot past. Okay, that ball pops up quite high. And I mean, where did that land? So that landed past the hole, it looks like. and off the green. Okay, so it could have been a miss hit there. But basically, ball's going really far. Okay. And for a basic chip shot like this, you're a decent golfer, you should be looking to get this, most of your shots here should be inside 10 feet, definitely. Okay, not saying they have to be to a foot, but definitely inside 10 feet. So let's see where this next one goes. Again, that was a bit of a miss hit. You can see the contact there. So even though it was a miss hit, let me see this contact here. Yeah, so behind the ball, right? So the swing's moving from too far inside. We collect the ground just before the ball. The club chases out in front of the ball, and then ball pops up really high. Okay, bit domey, lands short. That's actually your best result, and the reason why is it landed so much shorter than the others. So your miss hit worked because you landed it shorter. Okay, one more. That one wasn't too bad. That landed before the pin and then rolled, okay? So the other thing to note, and I will explain this a little better outside when I do this for you, is when you've got so much shaft lean, you're essentially going to add speed to the golf ball, okay? So if you think of a low shot, a low penetrating chip shot, the ball struggles to stop, okay? It's coming out very fast. So when we have a high ball speed due to the amount of shaft lean and not enough dynamic loft when we're chipping, we're going to have that ball come out very, very fast and very hard to stop. You would almost have to land it, almost, let me put a little line here. You could almost land one here with a low ball flight and it would skid up and go. Whereas if you had a little bit of a higher flight, better contact, higher flight, you would find that if we slow the ball speed down, we can actually carry that ball a little bit further. It can spin a little bit more and it can sit a bit softer. We can't slow the ball speed down when you've got this much shaft lean, right? When you've got this much shaft lean on your club, okay, and with the body so far forward. Okay, so I'm going to explain that a little bit more outside for you, but pretty simple things here, mate, with your setup and your swing direction. Let me go outside and help you out with this. All right, mate, so second part to this session, right, which is the practical side, okay, and the drills that I want you to work on this week. So if we quickly recap what your tendencies were with your chipping action and how you set up to the ball as per the analysis, okay. Yeah, in my opinion, I would prefer someone to set up pretty neutral, okay. So I mean, if my feet were 50-50 right now, this is what it would look like. So I've got a shaft very vertical, I've got my feet 50-50. If anything, it's 55-60% on my lead side. So, I'm just shuffling that pressure a fraction more towards that lead side, ever so slightly, okay? You, on the other hand, had gotten too far forward with the body this way. So basically it kind of looked like your lower body was pushed forwards and perhaps the upper body tilted a fraction backwards, okay? So if we were getting that, you were also mixing it with a lot of shaft lean forwards. Okay, so I've got my 56-degree lofted club here. So if that just sits on the ground just like that, its static loft is 56 degrees. If I now chuck my body forward and lean the club, I'm leaning that shaft anywhere between 10, 15, maybe even 20 degrees, which is a lot of loft to be taking off a club, especially for a greenside chip shot. Now the other thing to consider about that is, on my wedge I've got 8 degrees of bounce. So for every degree that I lean my shaft forwards, I take a degree of bounce off. Okay, so basically what you're doing by leaning on that lead side and leaning that shaft forward is you're essentially taking every bit of bounce off the golf club, you're taking it off. Okay, so now all of a sudden, whenever you enter the ground, all that's got to catch the ground is the leading edge, which is why you kind of get it, you hit a couple of fat shots every now and again, okay? Now mix that with a takeaway position or a takeaway movement the shaft tends to go a little bit too far around you, so a little bit under that plane. Now, if this club's coming from too far inside, plus you're leaning it, it's a recipe for disaster, right? We're going to be not only hitting behind the ball, but we're also going to be taking the bounce off the club, so we're hitting behind and digging that leading edge into the ground, okay? So recipe for disaster, okay? The other thing you've got to understand about how much you're leaning the shaft is the ball speed that the ball's taking off. So if I'm trying to go high and soft, think about it this way. If I'm trying to hit a nice high soft shot that lands on the green and just goes like a butterfly with sore feet, okay, I would want perhaps a fraction open club face, and more importantly, I'd want my shaft, my club shaft, to return fairly neutral, if not even a fraction behind. This is going to get the ball to go nice and high and soft, okay? That's what we call slowing the ball speed down. The opposite, which is something that, you know, if you're trying to go under a tree and you're trying to keep the ball low, we want to quicken that ball up. So what we would do is we'd stand essentially like this. That would be how to quicken that ball up, right? That would just come out so low and run, right? It would be spinning, but it's the land angle is not enough to stop the ball. So all of a sudden, if we're going this way, right, we're going to get a really fast golf ball, which is going to be hard to judge the distance with. So the opposite of that would be to set up, maybe even ball a fraction forward, open face, trying to hit the shot with a vertical shaft, okay? Those are the two opposites, okay? You lean a little bit more towards that way, okay? So the setup position I want you to take, fairly simple, okay? We're just gonna get in, we're gonna stand up nice and square, ball position in the middle of our feet, shaft vertical. I just want you to tilt from the pelvis straight down there, okay? And what you'll notice is you're about 50-50 with your feet. Now, all you need to do from here is drop the trail foot back a fraction, just a little bit. And what you'll actually notice now is because that's further behind you, you're actually going to feel like there's a little bit of weight on the front leg. So if I was to hang this club down from my chest, it's on the ball, if not a hair ahead of the ball, just a little bit. Remember, you were over here, okay? So what does that look like from a down the line perspective? Okay, I'm going to chuck that trail foot back just a little bit. Okay, and now I'm setting up and I'm a little bit on that lead side. So my golf club is just ahead of the golf ball, okay? Now from there, all we need to do is continue the pivot, okay? So we just need to continue the body, okay, working in the backswing and pivoting into the through swing, feeling like our pressure's moving forward while the bounce is getting in the way of the ball. So it's gonna hit the ground, bounce up, the ball's gonna take off, okay? That's the setup perspective. Now, the backswing perspective, what I want you to do, you can do this in the mirror, you can do this at home, checkpoints at home, exactly what I'm doing here with a net, or just, I mean, I've got another space in my backyard there to just hit balls. I can do it this way. What I want you to do here, I'm gonna set this up for you. So we're gonna place a club, you're just gonna place your wedge directly behind the ball, just like that. Okay, so you can see that. Now, if someone was going too far inward, where would I put this stick, right? I'd want to actually put it slightly inward so they can't hit it. So I'm going to measure just with my foot. Okay, I'm going to put my foot in the middle of that grip, and I'm going to put this alignment stick just on my heel line, okay? And I'm going to angle it just as I would setting up to a golf ball, okay? Roughly, all right? Now what I'm going to do, basically, okay, is I'm going to hit some practice, just do some practice swings where, you know, I can get that club to sit just on the outside of this stick, okay? Club's in line with my hands. If I was to suck that club inside, I'd hit it or I'd even go under it, okay? So again, the low point becomes too far behind. So I want this golf club to move still in, and up, okay? So it sits right in front of my hands here. All right, what we're not doing though is this, okay? There's a big difference. If someone did this, I'd put the stick on the other side, okay? So they had to move inward. Very, very simple little awareness drill, okay? And we're just gonna take the club back. We're just gonna do that a couple of times, okay? got my setup, got my backswing, and I'm going to feel like I just do that through the swing. Okay, and what I noticed there was my low point was basically right where the ball was. Okay, what would happen if I went inside this stick would be this. Okay, I would go inside, I'd start to pivot, my low point would become quite far behind. And you can see how the ball takes off to the right, as we explained in the analysis. Because I'm on a mat, I got away with it. It got up in the air, but if there was grass in the way there, that would have either bounced on the grass and run along the ground, or I would have bladed the thing straight across the green. Okay, so you can see the difference. You can see the difference between the swing directions when this is here. Okay, those are the two things I want you to focus on this week. Okay, so I want you to send me back a video in about a week's time. Okay, and we'll continue to monitor it. All right, good work, mate. Alrighty guys, so there you have it. That was a complete online lesson that I give to literally every student that sees me online for personal one-on-one coaching. If you're interested in getting an online coaching session for yourself or someone else that you know, please visit the Skillest app. I'm on there, type in my name, and we can get started straight away. If you like this video, please press the like and subscribe button. It would really mean a lot. Let me know your thoughts on what you saw. And don't forget, technique isn't necessarily everything in the game of golf. If you want to get more out of your practice, I have a 40-page performance practice ebook and a scoring book to help you get the most out of your practice. So if you'd like a copy of that, please visit my website. Until next time, thanks for watching.